Alright. I don't know enough about software to actually set this up, but a simple way to do noise cancellation with multiple microphones, like what's done on a lot of phones, or what inspired this was watching the Linus Tech Tips review of the Xbox headset, saying how it has 2 mics. You could take, if there was a way to add on to this Reaper plugin, that would be easy, but I don't know if there's probably no way to do it. Should be able to make a standard VST plugin that can take 2 mics and make it work. This is what I have now. That light line, that's what the mic sees before any processing, and the yellow line is what actually comes out of the mic. Notice how when I stop talking, that yellow line is pretty low. It's called a subtractive EQ. Put up another one here so that I can not change the one that my mic is going through, so you can hear me through all this. When you first open this up, you get more like a standard EQ. You raise a part of the line and frequencies towards that end. You raise it, goes up. Lower it, goes down. Like you'd expect. Now if you change it to subtractive, what happens is if you raise something, it subtracts more. Notice how the yellow line here, near the spike, it stays down even as I'm talking. If you were listening to this, there'd be some weird sounds there, but now if it was set up to where this red line, which all it is different points on an EQ, like you'd expect, except up means down. If you could have a second mic to change this, like as I talk here, the line goes up and stays. Now, if it didn't stay up at whatever the peak was and just constantly followed this lighter line here of whatever the mic is, your secondary mic that would be monitoring noise, if it just followed this line here perfectly, then you just have that mic more directed towards wherever your noise is coming from, further away from your mic you're actually talking into, and just have it constantly use that value. And then you get something that's more comparable to RTX voice. Now, it's not going to filter out if I tap my mic. It's not going to filter that out. But with a little bit of setup work, you can get something that's comparable. All it does is whatever reading you'd get on this, just set your EQ values there. It may need to have some added ADSR kind of settings like you would expect to have on a compressor, like a tach here. It seems when I had that set to 0, it was a little kind of shit, but something like 1 millisecond would probably be plenty for this. Mainly to make up for different latencies, because a USB mic might have different latency than your onboard, the motherboard's analog to digital converter for your mic in. And then a gain adjustment for that mic, because it might cut out too much, and then you get if you've watched some of the demos on RTX voice, Barnacules did an episode, when you had a whole lot of noise going, his voice sounded kind of muted, and if you bump that shit up too much, you get the same sound. It's almost what RTX voice does, except they just use some fancy math to filter out what it believes is noise and what it believes isn't. Could be useful for a former member of Tech Syndicate. Let's call him Kane. I don't know how the fuck you're supposed to pronounce that. Making a sound system for his car that involves a media center, touchscreen and shit. Could have a microphone that's pointed more towards him, and then one that's pointed away towards the passengers. So if he has his phone connected to this system, it could do what I just described to cancel out that noise. So if somebody had kids making a bunch of noise, you could still have a conversation without hearing too much of them. If I knew enough about software, I'm sure it would be fairly easy to set up. But yeah, if Cantabile would embrace the streamer stuff, instead of just music production, because this is made for making songs. And some VST plugins were made specifically for that. Like, this could be a very good way to sort your audio out without having to buy like $300 mics and audio interfaces and shit. Because I know this isn't the greatest sounding microphone, but you can pick it up for $15 on eBay. It's used. They don't make them anymore. It's a Logitech mic made for Rock Band, the game. Yeah. And, it would sound like shit if I didn't have this noise suppression and the gain bumped up to +15. It's normally very quiet. Anyway, I've rambled on enough.